for a photo one time.
Oh, really?
Background that you have. Yeah, it was so beautiful.
Oh my gosh. It's a romantic fantasy of mine. I don't know whether it's a real fantasy or just in my head, but I just, it's one of those places I dream about. And Teresa had put a trip together. I'll let you tell about that a little bit, Teresa. You put a trip together a couple of years ago for a small group of friends. What all did you do?
Oh, we did everything. We went to the desert and stayed in some fairly rudimentary type places.
That's the part that got to me.
It was amazing. Yeah. If I did it again, though, I would probably do a little higher end, but it was awesome. We drove through the desert with some guides. We had absolutely no idea where we were going. And all of a sudden we end up in this little camp. We rode camels. We ate amazing food, lots of tagines. We went to Marrakech, and then we went down to Aswaria and back around through Casablanca before we came home. We were gone for, I think it was 10 days.
Yeah, it seemed like you were there for a really long time.
It was amazing. Very, very highly recommend. I'm gonna go back.
We're gonna go back and do that thing the way Lyndsey would do it.
Yes, we are, for sure.
I did a solo trip there once. I have lots of stories when you're there by yourself and trying to communicate and trying to find your way around and
I imagine it's a little bit intimidating, really, when you get in those bazaars and souks, and if you're by yourself as a woman, that could be a little scary.
And on trains, like I had interesting, like the train cars are pretty compact, so you're sitting with, like, I found myself sitting with a group of men and trying to be inconspicuous, and they guessed I was American, and that opened up a really big conversation. So it was, in the end, I had really cool experiences, but there were times when I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I here by myself?
I think traveling alone as a single woman is both brave and thrilling. You open yourself up to so many adventures when you're unaccompanied on an international trip in particular. But the adventures could be various. I've been followed a few times in the Middle East.
It definitely got followed.
Yeah, it's kind of frightening. So Marika, she's in the blue Berber marketplace. Is that what that is behind you?
Yes. My son actually, and my middle son and his wife got engaged in Morocco.
Oh, really?
Many years ago. This is one of the pictures that they sent me. So I can't claim to have been there.
They're not engaged. She's not engaged. Your son's not engaged to Laurie Meacham's daughter, is she? Where's Laurie? Laurie's got the background drop today.
No.
Yeah. That's very beautiful. I love
Thank
that.
you.
And Barry is back. Barry hasn't been with us for oh my goodness, a long time. Hey, Barry.
Hi there.
Hi, good to see you.
I had to renew my passport to come back on this thing.
We're giving you all the thrills without any of the inconvenience. All right, Whitney, you want to get started?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being with us. Virgin limited edition hotels are they're some of my favorites in this whole series that we've been doing. I just love the exotic locations, and every time I see one pop up on the schedule, I'm like, yes, that looks like a cool place. The biggest challenge I have is always, honing down all the photos to see, like, there's just so many beautiful things to relay about these properties. So we're glad that you're with us to share with us today, and invite Lyndsey back. And we know you're going to have a good time. We will ask you to keep yourselves muted while the presentation is going on, just because we will be recording. And if you have any questions or comments or things, if you'll put them in the chat box, I'll moderate those at the end and make sure that Lyndsey answers all of your questions. All right. Carol's going to get us started, and she's going to introduce our newest staff member.
Oh, you're giving me that privilege. Thank you, Whitney. Well, for those of you who don't know, we have added a third person to our team, and she just happens to be one of our dearest friends, and we could not be more excited to welcome her to our little sisterhood. That is Marina O'Leary. Marina most recently was with Montage Laguna Beach. Before that, the Ritz-Carlton Dove Mountain. She's an Irish lass and filled with life and spark. So her responsibility is business development as we expand into new markets, but also just to focus on customer care and making sure that you all are feeling the love and that there's anything that you need from us that we can provide you in the way of connections and just community. So welcome, Marina. Do you want to say hello?
Hello. Thank you so much, Carol and Whitney, for allowing me to join your team. I'm very, very excited. If you need anything, I am here for you. Always have availability and flexibility to be here because, again, we all know it's about connection and family during this time. So authenticity is very, very important to me. So please contact me anytime. I'm looking forward to working with you.
That's Marina at retreatsresources.com. I sound like the radio right now, but I need to plug her. And while I'm sounding like the radio, I want to tell you that we have the first 5 today. Whitney, did you happen to bring the little sample of what these folks are getting?
I do have them.
All
yes.
right, let's see it.
So being that this is sort of an exotic locale, we thought we'd go kind of exotic on you. And these are crystal rollers. So what you do with these, they're filled with precious stones, and you would put essences of or oils or cologne or anything in there, and then these roll on. And they are supposed to infuse it with a certain vibration and energy. So if you're into that, you'll love these. And if you're not, you can give them to someone who does.
All right, well, those first 5 this week are the following people. Please be sure you email me with your physical mailing address where you are at the moment, not your work address. Melissa Barney Schaffler, congratulations to you. Teresa Brady, new address, please. Teresa just moved to Colorado. Mirella Bonilla, back again, and Lori Meacham, and Evan Geekus. Evan, I know you want this crystal roll-on infused fragrance thingy. I'm sure you do. So make sure
you could give it to the next person in line if you don't mind.
Oh,
I don't know if I need to use that in the lack of roller.
Well, I had also written down Lynn Willison had gotten here pretty early today. So let's give it to Lynn.
Let's pass it. I'll pass it on.
We're regifting it.
Congratulations, Lynn.
So email me at carol@retreatsresources.com or send it directly to Whitney this time because she's got them at her house. So yeah, y'all email Whitney at retreatsresources.com and she will be sure that you get your gift. I also noticed that while I was blathering on, some of you went and got some outfits together, and we have Miss Kelly McAllister with us again today. So is anybody wanting to tell a story about Morocco or the character you brought to the party today?
Hang on, there's someone.
I just have a recommendation. If anyone is looking for something to watch on Netflix, Feed Phil. He does a beautiful, his very first episode is in Marrakech. So if you're looking, he does a fantastic job for us foodies and travelers. He really draws you in by just his facial expression. So if somebody is looking for something really fun to do, go watch on Netflix Somebody Feed Phil in Marrakech.
Thank you. And then I'd like to ask Cindy Kramer if you don't mind sharing with us what you've got going on there.
Just for me, Morocco has always been on my bucket list, and I'm trying to envision myself sitting on those lovely cushions, like with Carol, because we have the same background, and trying to transport myself to Marrakech or anywhere in Morocco, out in the desert, and enjoying all of that experience.
Well,
awesome.
Fit right in culturally, all covered up.
Thank you. And the closest oh yeah, please.
Sorry.
I was in Morocco, gosh, years ago as a student. And I had been in Spain for several months. And so I went to Morocco for a day with my friend from Spain, and we were in Tangier. Anyway, we were followed everywhere we went. And anyway, this one very persistent local said, tour the Kasbah, tour the Kasbah. Do you want to tour the Kasbah? And we're like, no tour, no tour. Well, we were walking that way, and we ended up in the Kasbah. And of course, then he started yelling and said, American, no pay for tour at the Kasbah. And we were like, oh my gosh, digging around, getting money and throwing it at him so he would leave us alone. But it was crazy. It was an adventure.
Did you get that beautiful blue headpiece from there?
I didn't, but I thought it would match.
That's beautiful. You look really lovely. Anybody else?
Well, the closest I have been is Epcot. So, Lyndsey, I am really, really excited for your tour today.
Sure. Yeah. And just a little fun fact about me. I actually used to work for a tour operator as a Morocco specialist. So if you have any Morocco questions, I can definitely answer them. I've been there probably a total of 8 weeks on my own in total. So I've seen every nook and cranny. So ask away.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, having
Awesome.
said that,
Thank
Lyndsey,
you.
we've introduced you before. This is the glorious, beautiful Lyndsey Balog, who represents the Virgin limited edition collection of really, really special small hotels around the world that Sir Richard Branson has accumulated and collected. And today we've decided to go really exotic on you, and we're in Morocco. So go ahead, Lyndsey.
Yeah, sure. So I'm actually going to jump in here and start with a video of the tea making. Just give me a chat or just speak up if you can't hear it well, but it will be on my loudest level on my computer. So just be warned. So just make sure your computer levels are good. But yeah, let's start with that. And then I'll jump into my presentation. Okay.
Hello, my name is Hussein. I am the Deputy General Manager here at Kasbah Tamadot. I have a pleasure to share with you today how to prepare the first drink in Morocco, the mint tea. For your information, the British traders are the ones who introduced the green tea to Morocco in the 18th and 19th centuries via the port of Tangier in the north of our country. The mint tea is essential to the social life in Morocco, especially when it's being prepared for the guest. Tea is traditionally prepared by the household head and served to the guest as a sign of hospitality. I can say that Morocco is the second consumer in the world and the first in the Maghreb region in terms of consumption of green tea. Morocco is even one of the biggest tea importers. Now, I leave you with my colleague Jamal, who is going to show you how to prepare this drink.
Hello, my name is Jamal. I'm the guest service here at Kasbah Tamadot. Nice to meet you all. I'm going to show you how to make a nice Moroccan tea with the 3 ingredients, important things that we will need. The first is the green tea. The second is the sugar. As you can see, we have here sugar of 2 kilograms in 1 plate. It's a pot of sugar, but I have it here in small pieces. And the mint from our beautiful garden here, which is beautiful. The first step is to put about 2 to 3 spoons of the green tea on the teapot. I did 3 because in Morocco we like it very sweet and very stronger sugar. Then I'm going to pour the hot water, the boiled water on it all the way. This is plenty enough for this teapot. Depends on how large is it. Then I'm going to add the mint. Nice mint, you can smell it. And sugar. Of course, we use, a lot of sugar with our tea. I'm going to do 3 pieces. Then I'm going to put in a fire for a while, for about like 3 to 4 minutes. After the 4 minutes, our tea is ready. So tea is ready now. I'm gonna put it up to make sure the tea and the mint and the sugar are all mixed together. I'm gonna do this, and our tea is ready, and I'm very happy to share it with my colleague Cuisine. Sandra's gonna tell us how it is and
Thank you, Jamal.
enjoy it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking time to prepare this.
You're welcome.
And I hope that you enjoy your time with us.
Thank you
so
very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that is one video, and I just want to show you one more, so just bear with me. So he's just going to give a little background on the history, but I just want you to see the scenery and I can take a deeper dive. So just 1 second.
Lyndsey, is your background the same courtyard where they were?
Yeah, it's not actually. So that's the reflecting pool. So that's just outside of the spa, but it looks very similar.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Okay. Here we go.
I have a pleasure to meet you today. I am Hussein, the Deputy General Manager here at Kasbah Tamadot. I have a pleasure to give you a little history of this place. For your information, the Kasbah is situated at 50 kilometers in the south of Marrakech, just in a few steps from the Atlas mountain, as you see in this nice picture. We are here in 1,300 meter altitude. The Kasbah Tamadot was first built by a local governor on the end of 19th century, bought later by an American antique dealer called Luciano Tempo. After the renovation of the Kasbah in 1989, Luciano used it as his residence in Morocco. Tamadot interior decoration was then as extravagant as its owner. Several styles coexisted: Pakistan, Chinese, Moroccan, Oriental, and Indian. Luciano sold his house to Sir Branson in 2000, and it was Eve, the mother of Richard, who fell in love with this place. The modern day story began when Richard Branson visited Morocco in 1998 with the goal of circumnavigating the globe in a hot air balloon. His mother, Eve, discovered the property and fell in love with it, as I said. Eventually, persuading him to buy it. Richard agreed, but in one condition. Eve was to establish a charity to help the local Berber community, which eventually became the Eve Branson Foundation, and which is for the moment a great success in the local area. Now I will leave you with my colleague Lyndsey for the rest of this presentation. I hope to see you here in the Atlas Mountain in the next future. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.
Okay. So thank you. I know that last video is a little bit hard to hear, but I will do an overview of the history. So let me just open up my presentation here. Oops. Okay. Yeah, so welcome to the Kasbah. I hope that was fun for you. Mint tea is very easy, but it's very sweet. They use lots and lots of sugar. So yeah, I'll just tell you a little bit about the history of Kasbah, as he just mentioned. So it's actually a really interesting story and my favorite of all of the properties that we have. But Kasbah Tamadot, many years ago, Richard Branson was attempting to circumnavigate the globe in a hot air balloon. Many of you may remember. So Morocco actually is a good takeoff place for that particular trip. So he was spending lots of time in Morocco, and his mom Eve came to visit him. And while she was visiting, she actually went up to the High Atlas Mountains to hike, and she discovered the Kasbah. And at the time, it was owned by an antique collector named Luciano Tempo. And she actually told Richard, she returned back to Marrakech, told Richard, "I'll disown you unless you buy this property." And she convinced the antique collector to sell it. Not only sell it, but sell it with antiques still in the property. So actually, when you get the chance to visit one day, you'll see the beautiful antiques from all over the world that are scattered throughout the property. So really fun story. So Kasbah is really Eve Branson, Richard's mom. That is her baby. She started the Eve Branson Foundation. They work with women from the local villages to design ceramics and rugs. You name it, and they sell it in the store that's located just outside the property, and all the profits go back to not just the village, but they go directly to the women, which is really important in Morocco for the women to establish their own sense of income. So that's really great. And another thing I love about Kasbah too is 99% of the employees are from the local Berber villages. So it makes for that warm Moroccan hospitality. And not just that, but they were all, before the property opened, they started schools to teach the local Berbers how to speak English and make sure they were comfortable working in the Kasbah, which is actually mostly US guests. So yeah, that's just a little history. So let's just jump in. So we're located about 45 minutes south of Marrakech, really beautiful drive, easy to get to. A lot of times people do the whole loop of Morocco and then end their stay with us for about 2 to 3 nights. It's also great in combination with Marrakech. You get the hustle and bustle of the city, and then you get the relaxing setting of the mountains, hiking, laying by the pool, of course, the spa treatments, hammam, and I'll get into the other activities in just a bit. So yeah, as I mentioned, we're located 45 minutes south of Marrakech. We sit at about 1,300 meters above sea level. There's great hiking nearby. We have packages that include Berber hiking with the mules, and we do picnics when you get to the top of the mountains as well. So we have 28 rooms and suites in total. They're completely different in terms of style, decor. All of them have king size beds, and 10 of the rooms and suites can be made into separate twin beds. So we'll start with our superior room. So this is the lead-in room category, and you can start seeing the antiques, some of them scattered throughout the rooms. This room category, superior rooms, they will not have balconies or terraces. And then you have your 7 deluxe rooms. So starting with these rooms, they'll all come with a balcony or a terrace. And then as you can see from the picture, the original features of the main Kasbah were kept. So the ceilings, floors, and all that. Yeah, and then our superior suites. So difference here would be size-wise. You have a much larger living space. We can add rollaway beds to these rooms. They will all have balcony or much larger balconies or terraces as well. And then just in terms of what's available for the guests in the rooms, you'll have the sun hats on the beds. We leave postcards for the guests, hair dryers, adapters, ponchos if it gets cooler. You have your torches, blankets for the cooler months as well, and dual air conditioning and heating. And then our deluxe suites. So difference between the deluxe suites and superior suites. Deluxe suites will just have the prime views from the main Kasbah, but similar size to superior suites, and they all have the balconies and terraces. So lots of details, lots of thought goes into these rooms, complimentary mini bars, and it's not just your tiny little bottle of wine. We give the guests all full bottles of wine, champagne, beers, you name it. And then moving on, so this is our deluxe suite that's actually separate from the main Kasbah. I'll show you our master suite, which is our mini Kasbah essentially. It's just beyond the pool and the main space of the property. So this is a nice accommodation. You have your deluxe suite here, you have a deluxe room and a superior room, and then they will all share this main terrace and the private pool as well. So just another nice space there. And then moving on to our luxury Berber tents. So these are located, you go past the herb garden, past the vegetable garden, right next to the animal farm are the Berber tents. So very spacious, very luxurious, lots of extra privacy here. And everyone always asks me, I think the word tent starts to freak everyone out a little bit, but you do have your heating, air conditioning. It's just like any other accommodation at the Kasbah, where you have these really stunning views overlooking the Atlas Mountains. I'll show you the private terrace. There's the terraces there. So 6 of the Berber tents will have the private hot tubs. You have the beautiful views of the mountains. And actually, having been lucky to sit out here myself, you can hear the call to prayer at all hours of the day just from across the village across the way. So it's one of those magical moments in the middle of the afternoon when you can hear that in the middle of the mountains. So you could see the beautiful views there. So yeah, these are more traditional in design, bold Moroccan color schemes. They're furthest away from the property. So it's about I wouldn't even say a 5-minute walk, maybe like a 3-minute walk just from the main Kasbah, but really, really beautiful. And then, yeah, so let's just jump over to dining. So a real highlight at any one of our properties, especially our Kasbah, we have a Moroccan chef. But we do serve international cuisine and Moroccan cuisine as well. And when taking the property on an exclusive basis, so all the meals and drinks are included, we'll also include a gala dinner on one of the evenings. So this would be included in the rate as well. And Kanoun restaurant is our main restaurant. So it's actually, fun fact, it's named after a local flatbread that's made in the shared village ovens. And we actually have a bread maker on property. So if the guests are interested in learning how to make the bread, we can take them straight to the kitchen to learn. And yeah, so it's open for breakfast and dinner. And then in the cooler months, it's also open for lunch. And then we have our Fireside Bar, so a nice place to enjoy a cocktail before dinner. This was actually just recently renovated along with the restaurant. And then during our warmer months, we love to organize dinners, all meals outside, of course, depending on the weather, but there's plenty of different locations. We could set up different menus. We could do dining on the poolside terrace at the you see here on the rooftop terrace, which I know some of you have as your background there. And then also just for the gala dinner, we can make it really exciting. We can put invitations for the guests in their room. We can make it themed depending on what the guests are interested in. Yeah, and you could see our terrace there. And just another point of view for you. So that building that's in the background there, that is the master suite. So that's what we call our mini Kasbah. So it's just beyond the pool. And dining menu-wise, we could do 5-course tasting menus. We can do Moroccan. We can do Moroccan buffets, barbecue, you name it, very flexible. And here's our pool. So our beautiful infinity pool, it is heated. We also have the jacuzzi, which is just behind the pool that you see here. And then you have those nice tents set up in the shade there for lounging. We could serve lunches, refreshments by the pool. We can also get the hookahs available for the guests as well. And just where you see here, actually just pictured behind, we have the changing rooms. We also have a gym that's located right behind this pool as well. Yeah, and just to jump to different options in terms of where to set dinners up, where to lounge. This is our Asmoun Lounge. So this was actually a Berber tent that they turned into a lounge space. So there's an honor bar here, there's a pool table, plenty of games, chess, but it's a great space, and I'll show you a photo in just a few. It's a great space to turn into for a traditional Moroccan meal, traditional Berber meal. So I'll show you that in a second. Just another view of the infinity pool, so you can see the jacuzzi there. During the summer nights, we also do set up a cinema behind the infinity pool, and of course we play Casablanca. And our indoor pool. So we have a full list of spa treatments. Indoor pool is available, and we also have our traditional hammam, which is certainly a must for those of you who have been to Morocco. It's definitely must be on your list. And yeah, just in terms of Berber experience, we talked about the tea, or they did a presentation about the tea. I mentioned the bread making. We do have cooking classes available. And then of course I mentioned Eve Branson's foundation, who's pictured there on the top right. Other activities, we do have our tennis courts. You could see the cinema setup on the bottom right there. Hiking is really enjoyable. You'll go with a local Berber guide. He'll take you through. You can decide on the mules or not, and then you'll reach the top of certain peaks of the mountains, and they'll set up lunch either inside, or you can do a picnic as well. And then, yeah, so just to show you examples of how we can set up events, this would be our rooftop terrace, so the entrance going in for cocktails. You have the long tables set up by the pool, and we can do nightly entertainment there, whether it's the fire eaters, which is very fun. And then this is a photo of our Asmoun Lounge, which has been turned into the Berber feast. So this is really fun, really traditional. There's an outside terrace there as well. So you can almost do a cocktail hour outside and then head into the Asmoun Lounge for dinner. And yeah, we can get dancers, you name it, traditional Moroccan music, lots of fun. This is our reflecting pool, which is a great setup for entertainment. And you could see the dancers there. So really fun. This was actually an event we did at Kasbah for some wedding planners. And just to talk about exclusive use rates. So low season, that would be the 41,000 per night, and then the high season, 50,000 per night. So that's your 28 rooms and suites, inclusive of all food and beverage, house wines and spirits, and then you do get that one gala dinner, and we can make it extra special with entertainment. And yeah, so like I said in the beginning, Kasbah, having traveled extensively through Morocco, I've been to Fez, into the desert, Chefchaouen, Essaouira, down into Skoura. Kasbah is a great combination with Marrakech, just because you do get the hustle and bustle of Marrakech, and then you also get the relaxation in the high Atlas Mountains. So yeah, we do have our reservations team in New York. We also have a reservations team in London. And any questions you have for me, I'd be happy to answer.
Lyndsey, what a beautiful property. Oh my gosh. Talk about authenticity.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was taken by the pricing, Lyndsey. It felt I did a little bit of math. You say you have 28 rooms and suites total, right?
Mhm.
So in high season at 50,000 US dollars a day, that's just about $1,700, $1,800 per room per night if you sell it out. And
Yeah.
that includes all your food and beverage with wines and spirits and a
That
gala.
is
dinner.
That
Wow.
is correct. Yeah. So the pricing, I think a lot of times I get this question too. People are shocked by the pricing of Kasbah. They think it's really this expensive nightly room cost, but the rates really start at 500 per room per night. So it's a lot of bang for your buck. It's stunning. You can eat like a cheeseburger and fries and have that as a big meal, and you're still in this, like, it's still the most beautiful location and event you've ever been to. So yeah, it is interesting. I'm always quite shocked by the pricing too, because we get that a lot, that people are surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Lyndsey, Judy wants to know if she can, if everyone can get a copy of these presentation slides.
Sure, absolutely. I can send them right away.
Judy, I'll make sure that Lyndsey has it. Excuse me, everyone's email address, and she'll get those to you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You are, when you go off property, what does that look like? You know, you're being the queen of that area. What would you recommend to these groups to, as a definite do, you know?
Yeah, sure. It's really interesting. Morocco to me is one of the most interesting places because they do have every landscape you could possibly imagine. You have the ocean, you have the desert, you have the mountains, you have the cities. So in the High Atlas Mountains, it's like being in New York City and then going up to the suburbs 45 minutes away, and it's just completely a different scene. So yeah, coming to the High Atlas Mountains, it's really a focus on wellness and hiking, the activities there. We do have yoga instructors, we do have tennis, but really the hiking is the prime thing to do, along with the cooking classes, the Berber bread making, going into the Berber villages and meeting with the families. That's definitely a must, because culturally that's really just like a heartbeat, the heartbeat of Morocco. So yeah, definitely interacting with the Berbers. And there's a list of hikes. There's several different hikes available, so they could do a different one each day if they were there, say 2-3 nights, which is suggested. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Laurie wants to know what the nearest airport is. Is it Marrakech?
It is Marrakech, yes. We're still waiting on, I've been patiently waiting for a long time for those direct flights into Marrakech. They're working on them, so I'm told, but yes, Marrakech is about 45 minutes to an hour to get to the airport.
Lyndsey, how many rooms, if you could give the breakdown of the room types also?
Yeah, sure. So we have 3 superior rooms, 7 deluxe rooms. We have the 5 superior suites, 5 deluxe rooms, and then the 4 superior suites, 4 deluxe suites, and then the 10 Berber Tents. I can send the breakdown if it's easier.
Yeah, for a total of how many rooms again?
There's 28 rooms and suites.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Lyndsey, as an expert on Morocco, what do you think is a comparable experience in Marrakech if you wanted to do a combination?
Combination.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times people will do a few nights in at La Mamounia. Are you saying like what they should combine Kasbah with?
If you wanted to, you would take a group to Morocco for probably 6 or 7 nights, and you probably wouldn't spend all of those at the Kasbah. So what would you, as a planner or a specialist, what other properties would provide a comparable value and experience?
Sure.
you know, maybe not in Marrakesh proper, but in the region, or would you do Casablanca instead? I don't know.
Yeah,
Morocco very well.
Casablanca is one of those places you're gonna go in and out. You'll spend a night potentially, but it would just be at Four Seasons. There's really not much to see. It's not it's glorified in the movie, but it's definitely not the place to be in Morocco. So I would skip Casablanca. Marrakech, the properties that really would go well with Kasbah would be La Mamounia. You have Amangina there, Royal Mansour, of course, and even Villa de Orange is a really traditional riad. It's a relay and chateau property that's stunning. So that's a nice place. Size-wise too, it would be the right fit if they were to do Kasbah and Villa de Orange. And then also in Skora, it's a bit of a drive, but it's about a 5-hour drive. They call it the door to the desert. There's this property called Dar Alam that's there. And that actually looks very similar to Kasbah. However, it's in a completely different landscape. You're basically in the door to the desert. So just completely different, but you're surrounded by these vegetable gardens and farms. And it's really a palm grove oasis in a sense. So very different, but that would be a good property too. And one more, Walidia, which is rarely, people rarely venture that way. If they're going out to the coast, they're going to Essaouira typically, but there's a property called La Sultana, Walidia, which is absolutely beautiful. There's great activities there in terms of like oyster harvesting and activities boat excursion wise. And there's also a La Sultana in Marrakech, which is a great property as well. So those would be my suggestions.
Can you also address for a moment the idea, the perceptions of safety and security for American travelers in that region?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, I'm a young female. I was there about 8 weeks total, 3 separate times, and I never once felt unsafe. I live in Brooklyn, and just about every day there's something to worry about. So there is a complete misconception. It is absolutely safe. It's a lot more modern than you think. In Marrakech, for example, you really are not required to cover up unless you're going into certain places. But it's definitely much more modern. It's definitely very safe. Moroccans have to be the friendliest people I've ever experienced. So really nothing to worry about. You want to be careful like we all do in traveling and just practice good judgment, but it really is safe. They've had very few incidents. They're just kind of highlighted when they do happen. Yeah.
You. Anyone else? I'm looking to see if there were any unanswered questions here. Of course, it's all
a lot of oohing and eyeing, Whitney.
Beautiful. I know.
That's good.
Tell us, just touch a little bit on Eve's foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another thing too. So we have an example, a sample itinerary I can send. It's about a 4-day group itinerary. And one of those days is actually going to visit the Eve Branson Foundation. So you go to the foundation where they're designing the ceramics, you learn how to make the wool rugs. They'll sit there and teach you. So you can really make a whole day of it. And that's listed very clearly on our itinerary. The women will talk to you about what they do and talk about their families, and many of them, interestingly enough, live in the village just across the valley from Kasbah Tamadot. So you can actually see this village from many corners of the Kasbah. And then after, they'll go visit the shop. They can see what's actually sold there. So that is definitely part of the experience and part of the itinerary. And then also, like I said, going to visit with the Berber families. They'll make the traditional mint tea, and then the hiking as well.
So talk to us a little bit about the reasons that I like to travel, and that is the food. What are some of the specialty foods of the area, and also the shopping?
Yeah,
What
sure.
and things are there to buy there?
Yes, I can give you a very extensive list of places to shop in Marrakech.
Yeah.
The food, some that I'm often dream about. The briottes are my favorite. They're like this pastry filled with, they're filled with cheese. Some of them can be filled with potatoes, I'm pretty sure, and chicken. There's all different briottes, but they're just like these little puff pastries. Of course, the tagines. I think about the chicken, lemon, olive tagine all the time. Absolutely incredible. Of course, lamb. I'm trying to think about, oh, the couscous with lots of these veggies. I kid you not, I know I gained about 10 pounds when I went there the first time for 2 weeks, and it was all worth it. The good thing too in Morocco is every region that you go to has different cuisine. So from the north down to the south, it actually changes. And another interesting fact to go along with that is Moroccans kiss multiple times, so at least 3 times. But the further different cities, the further you go and the more you know someone, the more they kiss. So you could see someone, and I actually worked with a team in Morocco, and I saw them the second time I went there, and we were kissing for like 3 minutes. You kiss on the cheek like 10 times, and it never stopped. So just to add along to the fact that Moroccans are very sweet and loving. But yeah, the food changes just depending. Olive trees are abundant in the north, and then you have your great figs down in the desert, and just all these delicious goodies. And their cookies, their almond paste like cookies. You can't have 1, you can't have 3. It's like minimum 10. But yeah, the chef at Kasbah is really amazing because he'll incorporate not just Moroccan food, but he'll mix in international flair. The menu's always changing. There's delicious soups, and the breakfast. I mean, I have like an apple for breakfast or eggs. They have a full-on, like the full-on platter. You have your honeys, your jams, your fresh breads, hot plates, everything. So there's no shortage of good food in Morocco.
And Teresa says that you might want to bring some empty suitcases. What would you put in those suitcases if you?
Yes. I'm actually looking at a pillow that I bought at this beautiful place in Morocco. They have like the cactus silk pillows. The most important thing you need in Morocco. So the women that I spoke to, you'll go to the argan oil factories. That's actually another thing they can do on their way up to the High Atlas Mountains. But they make this cactus oil that is supposed to be like the anti-aging treatment. And I only got 1 bottle, and it it does wonders. So that, and definitely the black soap, all the good things from the argan oil factory. The orange flower scent is really important. So getting the little bottles that you can rub on your wrist, or the spray, and also their rose spray. Yes. Yeah. So definitely for women, there's great things. You go to the argan oil shop and you'll spend $100 and you have a bag full of cosmetics. So it's really incredible. And then, yeah, of course, the rugs, beautiful ceramics. They'll take you to Fez is well known for their ceramics, Marrakech, of course, as well. But it's fun to go watch them make it, and you can sometimes partake in that as well. So that could be another great activity to do. And yeah, everything. I have a lot of Moroccan themed rooms going on in my apartment based on my trips there.
We brought back lanterns, seriously, lanterns, rugs.
Yes.
We brought back pottery. I mean, we brought back everything you can imagine.
Yeah. it was funny. I found this rug that I like absolutely fell in love with, but I didn't have my own apartment at the time. And he said to me, I'll hold it for you until you come back next year. And I said, okay, thank you. And he did.
Oh my God, it was a sale.
Yeah. Yeah. The shopping's incredible. And it's funny, you'll be walking in the souks of Marrakech and the guide or whoever you're with will maybe take you into this room that looks like the door is going nowhere. And it's suddenly like 6 floors of this beautiful store, but you just had no idea. There's no shop, there's no store sign. Yeah, so it's amazing. I love Morocco. Has my heart.
You can tell that.
Yeah.
So Lyndsey, if we get a group together to go, will you be our tour guide? Will you go with us?
Absolutely. And it's fun too. Richard Branson is there a lot. The first time I went there before I worked for Virgin, he was the first person I ran into when I walked into the Kasbah. So ironically, he was the one to greet me. And this is no joke, but I wrote down in my journal later, I said, wouldn't it be so amazing to work for Richard Branson? And then a year later,
wow.
Yeah, so magical things
That's
happen
really cool.
at the Kasbah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We believe in that too, the manifestation of your desires.
It's out there.
What would you consider a group there? How many rooms or people would you consider a group?
I would say 54 would be
how few would you consider a group? Like if there's a lot of chit chat here about we should go. And I know Teresa's a good organizer. So let's say Teresa wanted to organize a trip.
Let's see what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So with this, right, Lyndsey?
Yeah.
Rooms you need to commit to and
yeah, sure. I mean, it depends on the time of year. Morocco peak season, October, November, April, May. They have winter just like we do. They do get snow. So come festive season, it is quite cold. So it depends on when you go. The good time to go would be the shoulder, like February, even May, but it can be very hot. Or September is a good time to go. So February, September is probably best. In terms of group size, I think like if you all wanted to go, I think like I was with a group of 8 at one point. That was great. It's nice to have a smaller group when you're in Marrakech to navigate the souks and kind of like keep everyone on the same pace because it does get chaotic and it's easy to get lost. So yeah, and definitely having a guide with you is great. I have recommendations for companies that we work with. So yeah, I don't know if I answered clearly, but I hope that was helpful.
On this call, she knows how to find you.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. I could book the trip in a second. I miss doing it. It was definitely fun to put itineraries together for Morocco.
Great. Okay, now you know, Teresa.
Right, pressure's on.
Yeah.
Right.
What is it like over there right now with COVID? As far as traveling there, are they allowing Americans? And then what happens when you get there?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. We are open as of October 15th to residents. They're currently, it's not clear right now, but we were hopeful for November, but now that we're a week into November, it's still not very clear. And the issue is the flights that will run into Casablanca and Marrakech. So Royal Air Morocco is the easiest way to get there. Not my favorite airline, but it's easy and it's getting better. So it's kind of a wait and see game right now, but we're hopeful for December at least for US.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're all blown away. It's just so lovely.
So enticing. Good night, Lyndsey.
It's just
It blows the pants off Epcot, Lyndsey. Thank you. I needed that.
No, it's so insane. When you get there, you're just like, pinch me, like, how could this place possibly be real? And I don't say that with a biased opinion, because I traveled there before I even worked for Virgin, and just absolutely like jaw on the floor. So it's
Very
amazing.
true.
Yes.
Lovely.
Well, Lyndsey, we love having you with us. And if
Oh,
you
I
can
love
come up
being
with
here.
another exotic and fabulous location, we'll have you back at the beginning.
Sure. We have a few others we haven't done.
Stuff we haven't covered yet, then let's talk. Great.
Thanks, all. It's so nice to be with you. And it was a nice break from the election madness. So
Well, indeed.
Thank you, Lyndsey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lyndsey.
Thank you.
So before we go, we're going to turn it over to Kelly McAllister, who's going to tell us who she thinks went all in this week with our theme.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And again, Lyndsey, just phenomenal. Thank you so much for being part of these. I am actually still reading through Finding My Virginity by Richard Branson. So thank you for sending the book. And yeah, it's definitely a good read.
Sharing. So Lyndsey, could you go back to not sharing your screen so we can see?
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
And then I thought that there was some great all-in efforts. I thought though that Lori Meacham really took it away with her color coordinated. Let me find a headpiece to go with this amazing backdrop.
You notice she wasn't telling you exactly what that is on her head. It could be her nightgown. I don't know. It's got a
You
little
know, I'm actually firmly convinced it's that stuff that you put in your cabinets to keep like stuff from moving, like being sticky.
You know, it truly is a scarf, which is really fun. But yeah, I had fun with it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Lori. Thank you. Thanks for bringing your A game. Thank you, Bonnie, Cindy, and Marika, and I'm missing one. Deb came on earlier with something on. So thank you everyone for your participation. Lori's the winner today.
Yeah, thank you.
Kelly. Thank you so much for your contribution to our fun and games. We appreciate it. And for next week, please help us get the word out on this. We are going to be focusing next week on the Ritz-Carlton Reserve. That's a special elevated part of the Ritz-Carlton brand. They're a pretty new brand. They've had one property in Puerto Rico for a couple of years now. It's called the Ritz-Carlton Reserve. It's the former Dorado Beach Resort. And they've just opened one in Cabo, the Ritz-Carlton Zadoon, Ritz-Carlton Reserve Zadoon. That property just was named by Condé Nast Traveler the #1 hotel in Mexico in the latest readers poll. I think it was #1, and they have not even been open for a year. So it is spectacular. We're going to talk about, you know, not just how beautiful these properties are, but a little bit about the culture in both Puerto Rico and Mexico, the Cabo part of Mexico. We're going to talk a little bit about how to make your events special and how these hotels are creating intimate space for small groups of people, 8, 10, 12, maybe 20, and in kind of a nice spacious environment that really feels safe, but still elegant and connected. So please join us back next week.
Hold on one second.
Yeah. Please join us next week for that. We look forward to having you every week, and it gives us some joy too. So we appreciate your being here.
Agreed. Thank you all. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful rest of your week.
Everybody.
And we will see you next
Blue.
week.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.